So it's a good afternoon to you. The Pharisees were what we would call church-going people. They went to synagogue weekly, and so did Jesus. They were not, for the most part, what we would call upper class, but middle class. They did not inherit their wealth, but earned it through hard work, and they were proud of that fact. They were also, for the most part, proud of their moral status in society. They were looked up to, if not by those of the lower class, by themselves. They really did strive for, and in many cases, achieved just about the highest level of moral uprightness in the entire ancient world. They observed the Jewish law meticulously, even scrupulously. One would think that Jesus would have admired their version of holiness of life, but he did not. He was not impressed by their external piety or their moral uprightness. He considered it to be self-righteousness rather than godly righteousness. The Pharisees had the most trouble in accepting Jesus and his brand of religion. They were too smug for Jesus' tastes, yet he did not shun them. When invited to their homes for a meal, a formal affair with many rules of etiquette, he went anyway, knowing that he was being set up to be scrutinized and criticized, even trapped into being labeled a heretic. He went anyway. Jesus was so genuinely righteous that he excluded no one offhand simply because of their self-righteousness. He considered everyone reformable. No one was finished changing and growing until he or she physically died. At the same time, Jesus did not play their games. Their negative, judgmental attitude towards people whom they considered beneath them really annoyed Jesus. When they tried to lure and trap him into some error as they defined it, Jesus would turn the situation around and expose their evil intentions, attitudes, and practices for what they really were: hypocrisy. This gospel story was just such an occasion. Now, after synagogue, one of the leading Pharisees invited Jesus back to the house for a meal. And Jesus accepted, knowing full well that the Pharisees' intentions were to trap him in some heresy, or at least to entertain his friends with this rather unconventional religious teacher. As it turned out, it was Jesus who was entertained by, if also disapproving of, the antics of these self-styled, important, supposedly serious people. They were jockeying for position and scrambling for the seats of honor. Now, who among us has not had a quiet laugh as we observe people at banquets or weddings or even funerals, either trying to sit next to people they consider their social equals, or complaining that they were put down too low on the seating order of importance? First it's funny, then it's sort of sad that such folk are so insecure within themselves that a chair's place or a place in line is so important to their self-worth. We laugh, of course, until we realize that we are just as insecure, only we have enough sense to try to hide it. Jesus is certainly not recommending that we pretend to be humble, all the while remaining proud undercover. He is recommending, well, he's requiring really, that we be truly humble. Now that means that we see everyone's self-worth in the light of God's estimation. It matters not to God what our social economic status might be. All his children are worthwhile to him, and that's his doing. His decision made that, and our actions did not influence that at all. We cannot earn our worth before God. It is given. We can reject it, neglect it, tarnish it, try to trash it, but we cannot really lose it. The Pharisees overestimated their worth, thinking it had something to do with themselves and their self-righteousness. They also thereby underestimated the worth of the poor and the disabled and the outcast and even the sinner. They would never think of having such folks for dinner or associate with them in any way whatsoever. After all, they were not their kind of people. The irony was that this Pharisee had invited Jesus for dinner, who at this point in his life had no home to invite him back. Jesus was in effect saying, now that was not so bad, was it? Why not invite more folks like me into your home and into your charity and generosity? Real generosity, not reciprocal generosity, will actually be repaid, but not directly. If not here and now, then in eternity. Doing kindness for people who will repay us or can repay us is not real charity, is okay as far as it goes, but if it is the level and quality of our generosity, it is no better than a business deal. I do for you and then you owe me one, and I'll collect later, or scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. No, real generosity says, I do for you because I owe you, and I owe God everything. God, who really owns everything I have, and I want to show my appreciation, asking nothing in return. Our place in the world is not determined by where we sit or what our title is, but where we stand before God and what He calls us, namely, His children. People who overestimate their worth underestimate the worth of all others. Real generosity is giving to those who cannot give back. In eternity, everything we have given away will be returned to us in a different form. Self-depreciation. We can fake humility. We can pretend to have a lower opinion of ourselves than what we really have in our hearts and tell others how humble we are. How would anyone know otherwise? It is really the way we treat others that shows whether or not we are truly humble. Humility is simply having the same opinion of ourselves as God has of us. God has His rank, His order of preference. Jesus has told us that true greatness consists in service to others. However, if we serve the poor, but still look down on them as less worthy, less important, less human than ourselves, we are not truly humble. Poor is an economic term, not a religious one, unless, of course, we mean poor in spirit. Many people help the poor, but also look down on them. Indeed, helping the poor gives them an even greater sense of pride in themselves. Associating with the poor does not produce the attitude there, but for the grace of God go I. Rather a feeling of superiority. The feeling sneaks out and leaks out at the most unexpected times and places, such as when a poor person is honored. Then comes the slip-ups. Well, I've been doing that for years now and no one has recognized it, or me, or I really deserve that honor more than the one who got it, or if it were not for me, that person would still be in the gutter, or I made him or her what he or she is today. So much for the conceit and deceit of self-depreciation. Now, public generosity. During holidays, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, oddly, never at Easter, we frequently see on TV and read in the news churches sponsoring a big meal for the poor. Why is that news? Well, because that is the only time these churches do so. Are not the poor hungry every day? Who cares for them and feeds them the day after Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the days after that? This display of public generosity, supposedly a sign of caring for the poor, is really an indictment against many Christian communities who dedicate too small an amount of time and money to serve the poor. It indicates just how truly poor many Christian communities are. Poor not economically, but poor in what matters to God. Jesus does not forbid throwing parties for one's friends. He commands that we also do the same for those who really need a meal and need one every day. If it is an everyday occurrence, it will not make the news because it is the good news in action, not a rare event, but a real one. Each one of us needs to see to it that we are supporting those who cannot return the favor. They could also be relatives and friends, but they don't have to be. And we do this not only to help meet their needs, but to meet our own needs as well. You know, when Christ is alive in us, we simply need to share with others. It is a part and parcel of the wonderful experience of being two lives, Christ's and our own, in one body. Now, dealing with hypocrisy. The hypocrisy of others serves a good purpose if it points out the same hypocrisy in ourselves. Jesus did not merely condemn the hypocrisy of the Pharisees. He used their example to help others, including us, to see the same attitudes, tendencies, and actions in our own lives and do something about it. No doubt, Jesus also wanted to give the Pharisees as many chances to reform their lives as he gives the rest of us. Jesus dealt with hypocrisy by calling it by its right name and, at the same time, not rejoicing the hypocrite. Jesus judged behavior, but not people, at least not yet, not until death. He wants us to do the same. If we snub our noses at hypocrites, then we have to snub our noses at ourselves as well. It is not easy in a social setting to express our inner objections to displays of hypocrisy, but we must. Throwing cold water on people who are blind to hypocrisy will not kill them, only wake them up. It does have the effect, though, of putting the cold water thrower into hot water with the gaggle of hypocrites who are playing the game. Amen. Okay, announcements.
Yeah, we were forced to go to church pretty much. We grew up like that.
Since I was a kid, every time I go to attend to any certain church, that was really strict for me.
A lot of the rules that came along with church just felt like these, who do I need to be in order to be loved?
This is how you have to dress, this is how you have to behave.
I can remember running around the pews at our old Baptist church in Chicago, and my dad was leading worship and stuff like that. So it's always been a part of my life, even sometimes if it was at a distance.
When I got into high school, I didn't really feel that connection to church.
If you lived in Mom's house, you went to church. The day I moved out was the last time I went.
Well, I decided to stop around 12, 13 years old. I thought I was big enough to take my decision to say, this is not for me.
I knew a lot of ministers and ministries and pastors and things like that, and so you go to a church on Sunday, but you know what happened, between, Monday through Saturday. Sometimes you get a little jaded or disillusioned, by that.
I left and explored life and all that it had to offer.
How I was, I didn't feel I belonged in a church. I've pretty much done any kind of drug that you can do.
It was always like I still had this anxiety and depression inside, so the things that I turned to were alcohol and marijuana.
I was searching, really looking for something, also trying to find a meaning in something on my life which never find it.
My brother for sure was the front door for me because I had such a close relationship with him growing up.
My daughter Stormy started going to church continuously when she was probably 14.
I'm a plumber in there, and I get to the house and I start lay out the blueprints, and I start thinking there, like, what these people doing? Like, we can do miracles? Like, come on, this is stupid. There was a guy staying beside there, and I was like, oh, say, who are you? And he's like, well, I'm the owner of the house. And I was like, oh my God, like, I want that moment that floor used to open and just swallow me right in there.
And so when my brother came to me saying, like, Ash, you gotta check out this church, and like he was excited about it, I was like, okay, this is something.
Before I left that day, he come talk to me, and he get to the point to come and invite me. He asked me, do you want to go to church?
It took us about 3 years before we finally said, yeah, we're coming with you and get saved.
Growing up in church is just a part of your life, and it feels like it's something you didn't have a choice in. But that invite really got me serious about going because it was my choice at that point.
The more that I go to church, the more I get close to God, I realize like He always been watching over me.
I think like being in community with the church. It's really, really one of the most beautiful gifts that God has for us.
This is the only time in my life that I really believe that I have brothers and sisters and true friends. Continue to keep asking, no matter how many times they say no. Don't ever give up. I don't know where I'd be right now if Stormy had given up on me.
Okay, so as you saw in the video, National Back to Church Sunday is September the 15th this year. It's coming right up. It's already September the 1st, guys. Okay, so September the 15th, that's 2 Sundays away. Who will you invite? I've been telling y'all since we first started this church, bring somebody to church. Well, here it is. Who will you invite? I hope a bunch of people.
Play an active role in making North Texas a stronger community through Communities Foundation of Texas's North Texas Giving Day. With over 2,700 local nonprofits represented, there's something for everyone to support on North Texas Giving Day. If you're not available on September 19th, schedule your gifts between September 9th and 18th at northtexasgivingday.org, or be reminded to give on North Texas Giving Day by texting GIVE to 70402.
Okay, so North Texas Giving Day, 9/19/19. We've got a very busy month, guys. So the 15th is the Back to Church Sunday, and then on 9/19/19, that'll be a North Texas Giving Day. Obviously, please go to their website, check it out, understand what's going on there. They're kind of trying to explain it to us in the video here. Some nonprofits, this is their biggest moneymaker of the year. This makes them for the year. So I wish we would do the same for us. That'd be nice. Okay. Moving on, feedback@dallasulc.com. Feedback@dallasulc.com. That email address is important because you can give us your compliments, concerns, suggestions, or complaints there. Good for not only you here at the church, but also you out in Cyberland. Great way to get in touch with us and give us those compliments, concerns, suggestions, or complaints. And I don't know why it went backwards, but we'll go forward again. And we've had some issues today with our computers. Again, it seems like it's nonstop, but we get through it. We don't have to actually have these computers to make it happen. It makes it easier, but all right. You can make a difference by volunteering, and we can use as many as we can get. We are a volunteer service church right now. Nobody here receives a salary. Nobody gets paid. We all volunteer, and we all volunteer a lot of hours to make this happen. So we could use your help, and we could use you as a fellow congregant here. It'd be great to have some more fellowship. So come on in, check us out, and think about volunteering after you become a member. It's easy as that. Here we go. Okay, so continuing our walk theme with the music, what is this one? Anybody? Okay. So Walk the Dinosaur. Walk the Dinosaur. Guys, don't forget, Saturday, October the 5th, now that's coming up in a little over a month, is the Walk to End Alzheimer's. This will be our fifth year. Our 5th year participating in this. That's actually longer than the church has been around. So I actually started the group going before the church was started. So 5 years now. My grandmother is suffering from end-stage Alzheimer's. And I have to tell you, it's a horrific disease to watch progress in somebody that you love and care about, and watch their mind just wither, literally. And we need a cure for this, because it's not the way to go. It's not fair. So, join us October the 5th at the Walk to End Alzheimer's. This is the Greater Dallas Walk to End Alzheimer's. And guys, those of you who have signed up, please fundraise. Please, that's the whole idea. Yes, it's also advocacy and getting out there and getting the name out and wearing our shirts and whatnot, but it's also about the money. We've got to get the money in there for the research. Okay? All right. Any questions? See me. Go to our website. There's stuff all over that, DallasVLC.com. It's all there. Okay? Now, next thing is, did you know we had a podcast? Yeah, we got a podcast. There's some of you people out there listening, you know we have a podcast, don't you? As I look at the camera like they can hear me, like you can see me on the podcast. That was like stupid, wasn't it? Okay, you can check out our podcast at any time. The podcast is great. I listen to it and I hear something totally different at times than I do watching the video on YouTube or even being here actually doing the service. So check out our podcast. You go to Your Path. Just search for Your Path with Bishop Mark. Anywhere you do your search on the internet, Your Path with Bishop Mark. Okay, or you can catch us on TuneIn, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Radio Public, Anchor, Breaker, Overcast, and Stitcher. So if you have one of those wonderful services, we're already right there on your phone, on your computer, there for you to listen to anytime. I'm sorry, computer, I wasn't talking to you. Thank you.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm not either. Technology at its greatest, folks. Moving on. I think you just get our computer to work that well. You can make a difference. I have to go through this every week. It's my least favorite part about being a pastor, being a bishop, is having to ask for money. I wish I didn't have to. I wish it was just there for us to spread this word. But if it was easy, it would be worth doing. It's got to be something that you have to work for. It's got to be something that is, you have to strive for. You wouldn't appreciate it otherwise. So, there's some ways you can donate. I've already talked about the one, North Texas Giving Day, coming up on the 19th. Also, you can go to our podcast if you're one of our podcast listeners, or even if you're not, if you're just wanting to make a donation to the church, go to Anchor.fm. Now, Anchor.fm is the group, is the company that actually hosts our podcast for free. So they do all of that work. They keep all of our files on there. They provide the tools for us to do the editing and whatnot, and they promote us for free. That's anchor.fm/bishopmark/support. Anchor.fm/bishopmark/support. Of course, like I said a moment ago, you can go to DallasULC.com. DallasULC.com. I've done some upgrades, some changes on the website to make it a little easier for donations. They are there in the menu now, and there's all the different ways that you can donate. I'm trying to keep that as updated as possible. I'm only one person, and it's a big task. I'm doing the best I can, so please, be patient with me. Okay. Also, if you are an Amazon shopper, smile.amazon.com rather than join just Amazon.com. Go to smile.amazon.com. Every time you shop, make sure that you have chosen Dallas Universal Life Church to be your beneficiary. And so every time you shop, Amazon will donate money to our church, and we really appreciate that. If enough of you out there, we'll have a building someday. All right. And speaking of prayer, pray at DallasVLC.com. Pray at DallasVLC.com. If you have any prayer requests, we pray every day, at least several times a day here at Dallas Universal Life Church. And if you'd like us to pray for something for you, please email us, pray at DallasVLC.com. Now, for those of you who are local, and even if you're not local, you might want to come in town for this one. Okay, check this out. I'll let the words come up for you. All right, guys. Back by popular demand. I never went anywhere because I did it last year too. The Bishop's Labor Day Barbecue Lunch. It's going to be tomorrow, September the 2nd, at 2 p.m. right here at the church. Now, don't get your hopes up. I'm not getting out there cooking or even the opposite. Maybe you're dreading the fact that I'll be cooking. No, guys, I'm not cooking. My days are pretty full right now without me having to try to put out a decent barbecue. So, the beautiful and famous and historic Sonny Bryan's Smokehouse will be providing. They will providing it. They will be supplying the food. Your bishop, myself, is actually providing the food. Okay, there should be plenty. Let's hope. that we run out, because I would love a lot of people to be here tomorrow. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. Fresh, beautiful, wonderful barbecue from Sonny Bryan's, famous Sonny Bryan's barbecue here in Dallas. 2 o'clock tomorrow for Labor Day celebrations, okay? A little bit of fellowship, maybe a prayer or two, but just mostly having a good time tomorrow, guys. It is Labor Day. I might actually take today off. I doubt it. I'm not hosting a party. Guess what? Time for me to go start resting now, I think, because I have a party tomorrow. It never ends, but you know what? I'm grateful every day that God has given me this opportunity. I complain a lot about how tired I am and about how much work it is and how overworked I am and how it's a lot on my shoulders, and it is. But I'm grateful for it. And I want y'all to know that I'm grateful for all of you listeners, all of you watchers, all of the people here in the church, and all of those who have come in the past. Thank you. Thank you. I hope we're changing some lives out there. You know, I said when I first started this church, I said, if I could change just one person's life, save just one person's life, make a difference, a positive difference in one person's life, I've done what I set out to do. That's what I want to do. That's my goal. I've done that several times that I know of personally, saved a life. Now, but now I'm ready for more. Let's do 20. Let's do 100. Let's do 1,000,000. And I thank all of you who have been a part of Dallas Universal Life Church thus far. I hope it changed your life in some way or another.